What's going on? I thought the internet wasn't going to work at first, but here we are. Yeah, I'm in a different room, just in case anybody asks. I don't even know the number, but it's that little room next to the bathroom and Mr. Lutic. So this won't take long. Cambodia. Second part here, we're going to get through this article. Today, we're going to talk about the Khmer Rouge establishing the government there, which will, of course, start the genocide. Let's see. Boom, boom. There we go. Khmer Rouge. Yeah, the internet's a little spotty, so hopefully this is still working. Oh, well, maybe I have to move. Maybe I have to move places. Let's see here. Oh, it's getting better. All right. Khmer Rouge. Ah, hopefully this works. Khmer Rouge establishes a national government. Let's do this. In a civil war, remember, civil war is a war fought within the same country, two different parties, two different sides, that continued for nearly 5 years, so about 71 to 75. The Khmer Rouge gradually expanded the areas of the Cambodian countryside under their control. Finally, in April 1975, that's also going to be the year that the genocide starts, Khmer forces mounted a victorious attack on the capital city of Phnom Penh. That's the capital of Cambodia, Phnom Penh. Even to this day, it's capital. And established a national government to rule Cambodia. Sihanouk was named chief of state for life. That's a bad sign, right? Anytime anyone is like named, because they're not elected, but anytime someone is proclaimed like, hey, you're going to rule for the rest of your life, you can't do any wrong, watch out for that. That's probably a bad sign. Communist force, we already read that. Didn't we? No, never mind. Communist forces quickly swept through Phnom Penh and immediately ordered its inhabitants to abandon the city and take up life in rural areas. All right, we have talked about this before, but doctors, lawyers, teachers, everybody, convenience store workers. I don't know if they had convenience stores back then, but like today, that would be basically telling everybody living in Auburn, you got to move, go to northern Maine. Some of us would really struggle. Some of us would be fine. Any of the modern day preppers, have you heard of them? Preppers, like they prepare for the worst disasters. You know, they can fish, they can hunt on their own, they can probably grow some crops. I would probably be dead in a month. I wouldn't know how to, like, who knows if I had land that's good enough to farm. I mean, just some people aren't, they don't have those skills, or it takes time to acquire those skills. And by the time you're like learning how to do stuff, you're starving. So that's not the first time we've mentioned how starvation is going to be a problem. Anybody who, if you remember back to the Holodomor for Ukraine, the forced starvation, didn't seem like the Cambodian government or the government of Kampuchea, is what they were called back then during this time, they cared very much about the people, right? So if some are starving, hey, less we have to worry about, I think is the way they thought of that. Phnom Penh, let's go right here, starting in the green there. Phnom Penh and other cities throughout the country were emptied in less than a week. Thousands of city dwellers died on forced marches. We've talked about those before. Never good. Forcing people to walk, everybody to walk. So you can imagine, think of like the people in your family. You know, hopefully your grandparents are in good health, but they are probably in their 60s or 70s, you know, being forced to march. I mean, right off the bat, there are going to be some that are just too sick to walk. So hospitals are being emptied. And think about it, like doctors are being forced out of hospitals. Said it in class yesterday, like there's not going to be anyone to take care of the sick. Not a wise move, not a wise move. But if you want to control people, it is a good way to control people, and there will be fewer you have to control if they're dead. And then the years that followed, conditions worsened. All right, this stuff is pretty heavy reading. We could probably break this up into like 2 more parts. Okay. So that's just like 2 paragraphs today. We'll do a little bit more tomorrow. Don't forget about study guide. Maybe like 10 or so are in. And then there is the Google form for this article. We've read a little more, so you could probably do a couple more questions. And then Friday will be the vocabulary quiz over the words on the wall in the other room. I'm not in that room right now. So, all right, rest of the time, get whatever work you need done, and